UDFA steps into it, takes a shot downfield, and caught for the touchdown, Kayshon Boutte. Patriots in field goal range at the moment. Here's one downfield, and caught for the touchdown, Kyle Williams.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to Pat's Across the Pond podcast. It is me, Carl, your host. I am joined tonight, as ever, by Kieran and Rob tonight. We've got a little bit of housekeeping to keep an eye on because obviously Minicamp has now been and gone. Going to go through a lot of points about what has happened and who we signed and who is still on the outside looking in. And we also have a little bit of breaking news in regarding of the international series game, which we're just going to hold off until the end. So you might want to stay tuned for that. First of all, please make sure you are smashing the like button. Make sure you are Gronk spiking the subscribe button. Make sure you tell all your friends. You follow us on social media platforms. Make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and on Apple as well. And a big shout out as well. For the very first time on Patch Across the Pond, we are live on X as well. So please make sure you give us a follow on there as well. Kieran, Rob, good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing this evening?
All good. All good. I apologize in advance to anyone if I have any technical difficulties tonight. Unfortunately, my MacBook is probably older than the Washington Commanders defense from last season. So it's seen better days and it's been playing up since I've been trying to get in the studio. So apologies in advance.
No worries, mate. No worries at all. I've been down with the bug for the good part of a week, so I'm glad to have got that shifted as well. But honestly, I felt like I was snoring like a bulldog. I just couldn't breathe properly. But yeah, all good. Rob, how have you been, my friend?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, thank you. It's good to be here talking Patriots football again. I too, over the last week or so, have been pretty under the weather. I think I'm just about through the other side of it, so I'm no longer able to sort of really feel sorry for myself and act like the world's ending. I've got to crack on with life again now that I'm feeling a bit better. So that's that. But yeah, it's good to be here. You know, it's the first time. I don't know where it feels like there's not really a whole lot happening. So it's interesting to be here talking Patriots football.
Yeah, we are we're basically at the death point of the off season where there isn't really that much that's going to be happening. We could continue. Everyone wants to continue to bang on about the Mike Vrabel situation. Guess what? We really don't care. It is not a Patriots inside organization issue. It is an outside issue. It is a personal issue. It's nothing to do with us. So move the fuck on, please.
Well said, Carl, because do you know what? I'm going to say this now. Fuck TMZ. Fuck TMZ. That institution just stirs shit and gets like their kicks out of just like destroying people's personal lives. Like, we get this has happened. We're not saying who's in the right and who's in the wrong, but TMZ, we do not give a flying fuck if you've got photos from 2020. And I find it miraculous how suddenly now, after all these years, I've got a photo of Mike Vrabel. Like, where was that the last few years? It is just a load of shit, and I couldn't care less. So fuck you, TMZ. I hope you liquidate, prick.
I don't think it's said any much more better than that. But yeah, no, it's just sad. It's just absolutely sad. If they're going to continue to do this, then how ironic was it that all this came out during his most of all, if not 99% of everything, has come out during his time at Tennessee. The only one that's really anything conspicuous was back in March in the hot tub with the boys lot. So. Honestly, it's just madness. And you saw a Minicamp, which we're going to get onto as well. Mike Vrabel was back at Minicamp. He was training all the UDFAs and so on. He was getting and he was getting his hands stuck in as well. So it was good to see him back. And listen, I don't think anything's going to happen all this is from the media just spouting so much. I mean, I've tried not to listen to any American media television show or anything like that because I know I'm just going to end up breaking my fucking TV at some point. So there's just no point. There's just absolutely no point in doing this. Big up to Grand Eyes at 12. Who hopes you are well. TMZ said they got more than photos. Yeah, guess what? In the words of Stephen A., we don't care. I'm here to tell you we don't care. All right? That's all I'll say on that one. On the stream about how will the situation end. How will the situation end? Probably an NDA for both Vrabel and Diana Rossini. I think they'll both get NDAs. And then that'll just be it. Shut up.
I just think people will eventually get bored. Like, I think the players have come out in defense of Vrabel and said that they don't really care. I think I even think the local media are bored of it now. You listen to any Boston-based podcast and they're pretty fed up with it. I think eventually it will just get bored, right? It's like bullies in a playground, and ultimately TMZ are like insider celebrity bullies, right? That is, they get as I said, they get their kicks out of their exposés and exclusives when it comes to celebrity lifestyles, stuff like that. But there are many people that don't care. So when people get bored, and they will do, and their hits go down, they'll go away and they'll move on to, I don't know, what Taylor Swift had for lunch last Thursday, because that's the kind of shit you get on TMZ. So, yeah, it'll go away.
Yeah, Travis Kelce doesn't look that good, does he? Just saying. Big up to the delusional Patriots fan. So they have more than photos, but they're just holding them. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think the more they realize New England fans don't care, the less they'll talk about it. And you are right that this one up here, he basically says that it's kind of desensitized us. Yeah, because we've gone through it all. We've gone through the top rule. We've gone through Spygate. We've gone through Deflategate and everything else. But now the Patriots are back on top again, or at least we assume we're back on top again. Now all of a sudden all this comes out just strictly to do it. It just stinks of absolute utter hypocrisy. It really does. If this was say, I don't know, let's just say this was Sean McVay. Let's say it was Sean McVay. And it all came out further on down before he even took the Rams job. Would it really have this much aggravation? Would it really have this much traction? Probably not, because it's the Rams. No one gives a fuck about the LA Rams. So, here's what it is with us.
The Rams are in prime Hollywood, kind of, in the Hollywood location, aren't they? But I don't know. It's just an agenda, right? And they clearly have no other news to report that's relevant. So they're just trying to claw onto anything they can get their hands on. I have no respect for them as an organization, as you could probably tell by my rant a few minutes ago. But I just don't care about stuff like that. Like, just cheap clickbait. It's not interesting. Nobody cares.
No one cares. What we do care about is what could be the next hidden gem coming through our ranks regarding of the UDFAs. Obviously, rookie minicamp was over the weekend, which we're now going to finally get round to doing. Rob, what do we know regarding of the minicamp so far? Who has stood out? Who has stood out from the pack? What have we made of so far of our first round pick, Caleb Lomu? Because apparently I heard reports going out that he actually practiced at left tackle, which is obviously going to spur on, oh no, Will Campbell's position is under threat, this, that, and the other. Shut up. So was Lomu playing at left tackle in minicamp?
Yeah, so I think that one of the key things that I try to think about when it comes to stuff like rookie minicamp is don't overreact to stuff, right? Because this is for these players, this is their very first opportunity in the Patriots system, in NFL practices. It's a great opportunity for them to show a little bit of what they've got, but it's very difficult to project from what you see in rookie minicamp, long-term kind of results for these players. And so, yeah, with Lomu starting at left tackle, like you say, it's a little bit of a media frenzy about it, really, because there's been this narrative ever since the playoffs and the Super Bowl in particular about Will Campbell's long-term future at the left tackle position for the Patriots. And obviously very soon after that game, Vrabel came out and stuck by Will Campbell and said he will be our left tackle of the future. And I think that was probably quite easy to predict that Vrabel would take that stance. He took a similar stance with Ramondre Stevenson much earlier in the season when he was having fumble problems and there was talks, there were people calling for him to be cut from the roster. And Vrabel came out and said, no, we're going to stand by Stevenson. We're going to need him. And so he stuck by his guy. And so it was the same kind of approach that he took with Will Campbell. So I don't think that there's any sort of real chance or takeaway that Caleb Lomu is going to be the left tackle for the New England Patriots at any point in the future. It's going to be Will Campbell. So why did Lomu start at left tackle? Well, he played left tackle in college. And as we mentioned, with this being the first opportunity for these players in the NFL, there's a transition to be made there. And so I think it just makes sense to make it as easy as possible, as smooth as possible for that transition, I think that later on in the offseason, we might start to see him practicing at right tackle. Obviously, if there's a potential swing tackle for the New England Patriots and his long-term future, I think with us, is going to be at the right tackle position. But, for the first practices of his NFL career, you put him at the position where he's most comfortable. And I don't think that there's really too much more to it than that. Plus the fact that Demetrius Crownover, who we took on day 3, played right tackle at Texas A&M. So there'd be very little point in switching both of them over and asking them to play at the opposite side to what they played in college. Why not just have them both play at the position that they're comfortable with? So I think that's really the long and short of it for me.
Yeah, so Lomu was at left tackle, 6th rounder. Demetrius Crownover remained at his college position at right tackle. Lomu did work at right tackle with positional drills, so there was some cross-training going on, which you expect so out of a rookie, and especially if you're going to have Caleb Lomu, let's say Caleb Lomu is going to be your swing tackle, because you're going to have Will Campbell, Morgan Moses, you'll probably have, there was a good chance you could have Crownover as the backup right tackle, and then you've got Lomu as the swing tackle or backing up behind Will Campbell. So that makes perfect sense to me. I personally look at around the likes of Lomu that, I think he is going to end up becoming the backup. We'll find out come training camp, because training camp is where it all matter. Once the pads go on, then we will see what happens. Kieran, is there any threats to Will Campbell's position at left tackle if Lomu not just does well at training camp, but could absolutely knocks out the park?
I don't think right now. I don't think that's an option. I think it's potentially a wild card or a backup plan that you could have up your sleeve later in the season if you need to explore that. But right now, no, it's not. Will Campbell, people forget, was playing pretty well up until the injury, and then played on an injury and was pretty bad. But prior to that was absolutely fine. The line should be as you'd expect going into the season, and Lomu will be the swing tackle. I think what's important to point out is that Morgan Moses had his snaps managed quite a lot in training camp last year due to his age. So I'd imagine Caleb Lomu is going to get quite a bit of run at right tackle with the first team offense in training camp. Like, he's going to get the reps that he needs in there. So Lomu will start out as that swing guy. If Moses goes down, he starts at right tackle. If Campbell goes down, he starts at left tackle. He's the swing guy. I think he just gives you a bit of flexibility if he's able to play both sides. But I don't expect him to start ahead of Will Campbell at left tackle at the very least until next season. If that's the long-term plan, if Campbell doesn't have a good year and they feel like that's the best thing for the team, then maybe you do that in 2027. But I don't see that happening this year.
No. Regarding a Demetrius Crownover, 6'7", 319, big that's a big guy. And if he does end up being at right tackle, then I think it's a perfect backup for Morgan Moses. But he is more of a project. He's more of a project. but you can see that the tools are intriguing. He has light feet. He has the ideal measurables developing a future contributor on that offensive line. So good for him. On my next point I've got on here, quarterback, Baron Morton, who we drafted in the 7th round. Kieran apparently threw the ball pretty well. Just having a look at his recaps now. Morton connected on all 12 of his passes. He threw with impressive zip between the numbers. As he fit the ball into some tighter windows, along with 5 other rookies. Morton spoke about his early acclimation into the Pats offense. I won't go into too much detail, but he says, it's great. It's a lot of reps, which is really beneficial right now. I'm just trying to maximize my opportunity every day, learn the playbook, and execute on the practice field. Predominantly, he's going to be the 3rd stringer. We know this, and we're not going to probably see the best out. We're not going to see most of him until the 3rd and 4th stringers go on for preseason and that. But the whole point of when you draft the 7th round QB is the fact you're going to need a backup. Danny DeVito is going to be second in command to Drake May, but what are we? Sorry,
it's all right. No, run with it. It was fine. It was made it funny.
Oh dear. Sorry about that.
He might be the only quarterback shorter than Diego Pavia.
Very good.
Well, cover me then. Well, what do you think?
I think for Baron Morton, I think it's been massively beneficial for him that he's the only quarterback taking part in this rookie minicamp, right? He's not splitting reps with anyone. So he's getting everything. He's getting the full attention of Josh McDaniels and Ashton Grant. Like he's the guy for the time being. So yeah, he's the 3rd stringer, wants to make the most of these opportunities to prove what he can do. I think when we get to preseason, realistically, like Drake May doesn't need to play in any of the preseason games. We know what we got in him. Just let Tommy DeVito or Danny DeVito, whatever you want to call him.
Tommy DeVito.
That was his nickname before. Just let him and Baron Morton get the preseason minutes. Like they're the ones that need it more than him. One thing I would say though with Morton is, from what I've read, seems to be very comfortable calling the play, getting the protection set, getting the team lined up correctly, and then executing the play as instructed, which shows a good command of the offense already for someone who's a 7th round rookie. So that bodes well. Now, okay, he might not have the best skill set or whatever. And I know he spoke about that he's been playing through a lot of injuries and he feels the healthiest he's ever felt, arguably. So hopefully he can show why we took a chance on him as a 3rd stringer in the 7th round. And he makes the most of those reps, but certainly encouraging that he seems to be doing the kind of mental aspect of the game well already for a guy that's a 7th round rookie.
Yeah. Rob?
Yeah, totally agree. Obviously, it's just good, like you say, for him to be out there healthy and getting reps under his belt early. He'll get more of an opportunity, as mentioned, later on in preseason. Obviously, when training camp starts, it's going to be the Drake May show. So it's nice for him to be able to get in there and get some reps now and get that one-to-one coaching from McDaniels, as mentioned. So the other side to it as well is that you just want somebody that's going to be able to complete passes and hopefully you get to see a little bit out of the receivers in the group as well. And it sounds like Morton's done that. So yeah, I think it's a great start for him.
Okay, moving down. Let's go to the undrafted rookie receiver, Kyle Dixon. Turning heads, 4 passes caught in 11 on 11s. Looks like from what I'm seeing on here, he showed some explosion through the break on a tight window, which was apparently Morton's best throw at practice. At the slant versus off coverage, he climbed the ladder to haul in a high pass on a quick hitch from Morton. Dixon mostly repped as an outside receiver, which ironically is Keishon Butte's role. Made a solid initial impression as the most noticeable receiver in the lone team period of practice. There was also another receiver as well, Cameron Dorner, another UDFA wide receiver, also showed some speed and caught a pass on a dig route, which was his speciality when he played at North Texas. We're already bunched up with receivers already, and the news incoming, which will be in about 3 weeks' time, with regarding of a certain, AJ Brown is going to be it's going to be potentially on his way. the receiver room is getting a little bit crowded now. And now we've got this Kyle Dixon kid who looks really good. 6'2", 220 from a Culver Stockton product. He's got an athletic profile of 9.42 RAS, which is quite high, very high. He's more than likely end up going to be a practice squad player. The problem is, though, if he does ball out in training camp, it's gonna be some heavy cuts. It's gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah, I think obviously he's probably in the same boat as the other UDFA receiver, Jimmy Kibble, out of Georgetown. They're both small school receivers that were standouts for their respective schools. Them two are probably in a battle with Efton Chisholm. Like the three of them are probably grouped together. Now Chisholm looked solid and dependable whenever he was given the opportunity last year, which wasn't a lot. He was inactive for a lot of the games, but was obviously on the roster and had that touchdown. Was it against the Giants? He had the touchdown, I think.
Yeah.
So obviously he did okay for where he fitted in. I've been obviously an advocate of, I feel like we probably need to release Pop Douglas. He's going into a contract year. The receiver room is crowded, as you said. So I think these two guys and Efton Chisholm are probably there with Pop Douglas in terms of being on the outside looking in, because you'd imagine AJ Brown, Romeo Doubs, Kyle Williams, Matt Collins all entrenched in the team. We still don't know what's going on with Kayshon Boutte just yet. Like, hopefully he stays for at least this year, and then if he walks away as a free agent at the end of the season because we can't afford to re-sign him, then fair enough. But at least we've had him this year. But yeah, Douglas for me is way down that depth chart with Chisholm, and it's going to be difficult for these two guys to latch on. But obviously, if they get released as UDFAs and don't get claimed, then they can re-sign to the practice squad. So maybe Dixon and Kibble might be worth keeping around on the practice squad to continue to develop, especially being smaller school guys that maybe teams might not know more about. You might have more of a chance of retaining them. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, look, I'm always intrigued when a UDFA receiver arrives, because you never know what's going to be capable of. I mean, Efton Chisholm was a prime example. He did so well at training camp, but then you saw in the preseason game against Minnesota of what he was actually capable of, and not just as a kickoff, and not just as a kickoff returner, which is not his speciality. He ain't got the pace. He's more quick out of his breaks. He's more quick out of his turns than just being a pump and just being a kickoff returner. Anyway, moving on. Number 4 on my list, Tennessee corner, D. Williams, among tryout player standouts. Along with 21 rookies between draft picks and undrafted free agents, the Pats also invited 17 tryout players to their rookie minicamp. Among the standouts was Tennessee corner D. Williams, 5'11", 190-pound corner, looked explosive through drills. Williams made some sudden changes of direction, had decent speed, and was smooth in his back pedal. He moved differently than the other corners. We are looking for a 4th corner, so potentially.
I think he's a bit on the older side, though. I think from what I've seen, he's been on other practice squads around the league. I think he got drafted a few years ago. I want to say he might be like 20, 28. He's quite further along in his career compared to obviously these rookies. It's the same with the we've taken a punter obviously on a tryout from Indiana who's Australian, and I was looking at him and he's 29. So like we've taken a couple of like older guys into our rookie minicamp. I mean, punters, it doesn't really matter, right? Because Brandon Aubrey was a 28-year-old rookie kicker, and he's the best kicker in the league at the moment. So that doesn't necessarily matter. But
yeah, but hang on. Brandon Aubrey's a kicker, not a punter.
Yeah, well, kickers and punters last ages. But yeah,
sorry, McAfee, it's not a joke.
I don't know if this guy is this corner is gonna latch on, being 28 and look, relying on a mini camp invite. I think that's probably unlikely.
So the other name that's on my list here, and I'm gonna butcher the crap out of his name. So I really do say it. So I'm really sorry about this. Defensive line, Olasukonmi Uganloye from Florida, and see how much I fucked that up. From Florida International due to his size, 6'6", 307. and his size was noticeable when he was repping on the interior defensive line. There could be something there as the Patriots kick the tires on a big-bodied interior defender to add to their defensive line room. So, anybody want to talk about this player without naming the name because it?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't pick up a defensive tackle in the draft, and we talked about maybe needing to add a little bit of depth there. So there's no harm in kicking the tires on players like this, and potentially as well someone like the international players we've seen come in with very little experience, but with high ceilings because you're able to mold them and create something out of them once they're really able to hone their sport specific skills for the NFL. But when all the physical traits are there, there's absolutely no harm in giving it a go. So, I like to see us bringing in these players. You never know what you're going to find in guys that haven't really got a whole lot of experience playing in the NFL. So, it's always a long shot with these players, but every now and again they come through and you're able to turn them into real players, and particularly at a position of need for us. Why not?
No, exactly. Is that bloke the international player if the Pats have one? No, that Nigerian beast has gone to Philadelphia.
No, I think our international player who doesn't count against the roster is Lawrence Metz. I think is the French guy. I think he's the Patriots designated international pathway player. So I don't think this Australian punter is. But I think one player, we talk about. We spoke about potential camp players that have caught our eye. I mean, we signed that safety right out of Hawaii that ended up getting a contract off the back of a tryout, Peter Manuma, who has obviously people are going to say likeness to Troy Polamalu because obviously he's a Pacific Islander and he's got that long hair that flows out of his helmet and stuff like that. But I mean, look, Rob just mentioned about we didn't take a defensive tackle in the draft and we wanted a nose tackle. We also needed another safety. So maybe this Peter Manuma can continue to impress in camp. Now he's been signed to a contract for the back of a tryout and maybe he can force his way into the safety room as a backup.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say Troy Polamalu should be the comparison because for safety,
it's a lazy comp.
It's a lazy comp. Let's go with someone like let's go with Hufanga. Talanoa Hufanga plays for Denver right now.
I mean, even that might be pushing it because Hufanga is awesome. So
I wanted him when he was a free agent. As soon as he went to Denver, damn it, I knew that would happen. So a little bit of fun, and also the last takeaway on this one: 7th round, Quintavious Hutchinson leaves practice early. He was left seen with a possible injury after speaking with head athletic trainer Jim Whalen. We'll see if Hutchins participates in the next open practice. The first OTA open to the media on Wednesday, May the 27th, which is in 2 weeks' time. Yakas was present for practice but didn't participate, while Raridan wasn't spotted at Saturday's session. Regarding of Quintavious Hutchinson, not only if he potentially has an injury, he's also been a very, very bad boy. He has been arrested for battery. Lovely.
This is totally unrelated to the legal situation because we don't really know, obviously, the facts of that. But my favorite thing about Quintavious Hutchins was on his scouting report, it said, has an elite first step, but then doesn't know what to do once he's got off the line. So, he explodes out of his stance. He's got excellent get off, but then he has no idea what he's doing from that point, which I guess in a way you probably prefer it like that, right? Than having someone who has no get off, because that can be coached. Yeah. If it is a case of he needs to learn how to play that position and he needs to develop a pass rush move set, then you can coach that. But yeah, you can't necessarily coach athleticism. So at least he can get off the ball and get and has that first step quickness. But yeah, I don't know whether we'll be seeing him for much longer. If these reports and they're just allegations at the moment, I guess we'll see what happens with him. But it doesn't bode well for his future if he's literally in his first couple of weeks on the Patriots has been injured and potentially arrested.
arrested for battery, he likes to partake in a bit of the old ultra violence, eh? Ultra violence. You've definitely been watching Game Changer Wrestling too much, mate. On that note, so Mike Reese, he obviously with his reporting, he did something quite unique actually. He actually asked the players that were actually on the podium, leads off with a fun fact. Lead us with a fun fact. So corner K1 Prunty, our 5th rounder, says he had 5 sisters and he is the youngest of the siblings. Reese asked him what was it like. He says he had to make sure to go to the bathroom first. There was linebacker Nnamdi Obizior, the 6th round out at TCU. His fun fact was this is the first time he's ever been in New England. Quarterback Baron Morton leads off with a fun fact that he had 25 players on his high school team in Texas, coached by his father, and that meant he was a multi-position player, quarterback, pass rusher, etc. And running back Jam Miller, his fun fact was that he recently became engaged, says he wasn't expecting a call late in the 7th round, but was happy it came from New England.
I mean, they're not exactly fun facts.
No, it's not. But this is what Ryan did. Don't just put a, we tweet Mike Reese then as just saying these are not fun facts here. Offensive tackle Demetrius Crownover leads off with the fun fact that he and wife Mackenzie are expecting their newborn son in 5 days' time.
Yeah, that's decent.
Yeah, that's May the 9th though. So is it?
Can I just make a point on something that Nnamdi Obizior said? Right, said he'd never been to New England before. I have this thing in my head where I'm just convinced that Americans don't travel ever. Because you listen to we've got a couple of American guys in the chat right now, right? You listen to so many of them when the international games get announced. They go, "Oh, I've never been overseas before," and then you hear of these players like Caleb Lomu and Nnamdi Obizior both said, "Oh, I've never been to that side of the country before." And I know that America is an incredibly vast country; like it's massive. Like we're a small little island. It's easier to get around the UK than it is America. But like you've been involved, obviously, in a I guess college is almost a professional sport, not quite, but it almost is. How have you not, like, in your free time in the off season, not just hopped on a plane and traveled to other places in the UK or not UK, so the US, sorry, or gone to Canada or maybe flown over to visit places in Europe? There are so many Americans that just never seem to leave their homeland, and it just baffles me completely. I know we have a lot more access to like the rest of the world being in so close to Europe, but I mean, crikey, I've been to the US 4 times. I've been to Japan. I've been to Australia twice. I've been to like 20 countries. Like, go and see the world. Like, there's more than just sitting in your house in Alabama or wherever you're from. Like, go out there and explore, And it's just crazy how many of them just stay close to home. Like, it baffles me. But, I guess each to their own.
Yeah, you should. Look, Grandize has put Americans don't. It's true. Heck, most don't even leave their own state.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
On the topic of the fun facts, Carl, I thought you were going to use it as an opportunity to do some fun facts for each of us as well.
Well, now you put me on the spot. Go on then. Go on then. What's your fun fact? Just
so what? Do I have to go first?
Yes. You issued me the challenge, so you go first.
Right. Okay. So if I was asked by Mike Reese for a fun fact about myself, I suppose I've got 2, right? One, I grew up on a farm, which most people find sort of unexpected. And secondly, I've never been on a roller coaster. So I suppose it's a little bit weird to have a fun fact of something that you've never done, but yeah, I've never been on a roller coaster and I have no intention to either. So that's me.
Very niche one.
Very, very neat.
I could get the farm, right? Understandable, yeah. But never been on I didn't know how you would have thought of that. There's probably plenty of things you've never done in your life.
Well, yes, exactly, yeah.
Go on, Kez.
Well, I'll go with one, but off the back of something I just mentioned, right? So I've been fortunate enough to do quite a bit of traveling around the world, and my fun fact is when I landed in Tokyo last year, when I visited Japan, I stepped out of the arrivals hall and was immediately collared by Japanese TV and was interviewed on Japanese TV.
Shut up.
Yeah, and like so, there was like a translator and a host. The host was asking questions for then the translator, the producer had to then translate into English to ask me, and then it was getting translated backwards and forwards. I have no idea what TV station that was on. I will never see that clip again. I've just been on a 14.5-hour flight, so I was a bit like, what the hell is going on? And I was trying to find my taxi pickup as well. Like I pre-booked a taxi. So I was kind of like, what is going on? Like I've been here 5 minutes and like I'm already like in front of a Japanese TV crew. All I can remember is that the microphone like had obviously some branding around it that was like red and yellow, but I will never find that clip ever again. But yeah, that's my fun fact. I've been on Japanese TV.
Incredible.
Yep. The only fun fact I can recall of myself is I've beaten. This was going back, Jesus Christ, this is going back like 21 years ago now. This was when I was in the academy at the time, but I did beat an actual professional darts player who was in the top 10 of the PDC at the time.
Nice.
So yeah, he goes by the name of Wayne Mardle, Hawaii 501 as he used to be called.
Yeah.
So,
he's on Sky's coverage, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good. Yeah. That's a pretty good fact, Carl.
Yeah. That's my only real claim to fame. What was funny was that there was only three kids that beat him. Me, one other guy, and then there's another guy called Aaron Monk who was the first ever PDC World Youth Champion. But during that time, what was I left on? I was left on 85, and he turned around and basically said, my mum was watching as well, and he turned around and goes, "Oh, go on, let him have a go." Triple 15, double top, bang, bang, and the whole fucking place went up. So, yeah, and I got a hug off him as well, which is actually quite surprising. So, yeah. So that's quality.
I've never been any good at darts, so I've got a lot of respect for that.
This comment is here from Grandai said that I'd move overseas. Trust me, mate, you do not want to move here. This country is an absolute shambles. So you want
to move to a nice country? Move to Croatia.
Oh, do you know? I was just about to say that. That is weird. Yeah, honestly, Croatia's fabulous.
Beautiful,
get to Croatia.
Beautiful country. Beautiful country.
Or Japan. Japan's amazing also. But yeah, don't come to the UK. Yeah, it's in a bit of disarray at the moment with a very terrible prime minister.
That's putting it very lightly. Anyhow. Right, where have I got now? So New England have signed. New England did sign 2 more rookies earlier on today. Obviously, we spoke about safety Peter Monamu out of Hawaii. He's been signed, and also so has linebacker Xavier Holmes. Holmes, we don't know a lot about, but we'll go through some detail. Began his college career at Maine in 21-24 before finishing at James Madison in 2025. 6'2", 252 pounder, played in 14 games last season, finished with 30 total tackles, 6 sacks, 1 interception, 4 passes defensed, and a blocked kick. So potentially he is on our special teams. Yeah, so potentially he's on our special teams, I think, on that one. Obviously, Eli Raridon has obviously signed his contracts as well, which is which is good to see. Just trying to go through here right now. Yeah, we signed 2 of our draft picks. Eli Raridon got signed, even though we didn't see him perform, and obviously Quintarius Hutchinson, the linebacker, has also signed his contract, but it's come at a really bad time because now he's now being done for battery, which is not particularly great at all.
I think when you look at Eli Raridon, I've seen the photos of him like arriving like in Foxborough, and he just looks like a tight end, doesn't he? There's that body type, like you can see how like muscular his like legs were and stuff like that. Like he just physically looked like the part. So I'm excited to see what he does. Like I said, when I was talking to Rob about my thoughts on our draft, he was someone that I did like as more of a day 3 tight end, but I mean he was the 9th tight end taken. I do think he can be potentially a good player. I'm excited to see what he can do. Whether he goes on to be our starting tight end of the future, I don't know. but I certainly think he can be a role player in the team because he's got a very different body type to Hunter Henry as well, So I think, he could be someone that could be a real factor.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. We've got a couple of comments in the chat. Talking Balls Network is in the building. Big up to you, gentlemen. Hope you are well. Hope you're enjoying the off season. And Grandize has put United Nations, I assume, his show from mid to late 90s to 2013 when he passed away, left Croatia around late 2000s. I'm not privy to that show, if I'm honest with you, but Croatia is a beautiful, beautiful country. There's there's absolutely no denying that. And talking of what is beautiful, we're going to move on now to the International Games Series. Now, obviously, the NFL have released little bits and pieces throughout the year, but today was mostly where everything else gets brought out, especially for the International Series. So we're just going to go through them one by one, and then we're going to lead on to the final bit, which is obviously the most important one, the most important game of everything, right? So in week 1 in Melbourne, first time in Australia, the 49ers will be taking on the LA Rams, which makes sense. 2 West Coast teams. So, yeah. Week 3 in Rio de Janeiro, the Ravens will take on the Dallas Cowboys at the Maracana Stadium. 100,000-seater stadium, that is. That's going to be absolutely bonkers. So that's crazy. London have released their 3 games. Well, obviously, the Jags are playing twice at home because obviously their stadium is getting redone at this moment in time. So they are hosting 2 games, one at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and one at Wembley. The one at Tottenham will be against the Philadelphia Eagles, and the other one is an AFC South rival matchup against the Houston Texans. So that's quite an interesting one. Paris is having their first game. They're playing at the Stade de France, and it's the Saints who are already the home team, but it's going to be the Steelers who are the road team. That on paper looks like a sneaky good game. That looks like a sneaky good game. That's in France. In Madrid, in Spain, Cincinnati, they will face the Atlanta Falcons there. So that two tough offensives. That'll actually be quite a good matchup. In Mexico City, the 49ers are also playing. The 49ers are playing 2 international games this season, which is quite bonkers, frankly. So they've got to play in Australia and then they've got to play in Mexico. And the road team for that is the Minnesota Vikings. And then, last but not least, the game in Munich. The Detroit Lions, we knew, were the home team. There are rumors and rumblings going around that there was the potentiality that the New England Patriots, who we are meant to play Detroit on the road, could be playing them in Munich. Well, the rumors are 100% true. The Patriots will be in Munich in November 15th. And Talking Balls has just said, shall I see you gents in Germany? Well, we've got plans. We've got plans to get there. Whether we get there is going to be the quagmire. Because it's not just we've got the accommodation all sorted. It's just a case of now flights and it's just flights and tickets now, which we're going to find out sooner rather than later when we can get tickets for. Kieran, thoughts? Pat's back in Germany again. 2 years ago, we was together in London for the Jacksonville game. So far, I've witnessed us lose to the Colts in Germany. I've seen us lose to freaking Jacksonville at Wembley. And now we're back in Germany again, this time facing the Detroit Lions. So
yeah, it's a really good game. And to be fair, the international slate of games this year is pretty solid. Like, I've been very critical of the London games in recent years because they normally give us a load of dross. And although we get the Jacksonville Snooze Fest twice a year, like the games in London where you've got Philly coming over, you've got Houston coming over, you've got Washington and Indianapolis, which I think will be a really underrated game if they they are, better this year. I think all the international games should be fairly decent. And I think that's.
Oh, I forgot Colt. I forgot Colt for Washington and Tottenham. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, that's the other. That's the first London game of the trio. Anyway, carry on.
So I think that's the way they grow the sport, right? Like, because it's all very well putting games on, multiple times around the season, but you've got to want people to come and watch them. And I know you will always get a baseline amount of people come to the games, regardless of who's playing, because the appetite's there. But people will get fed up if you're just watching teams that are just bad every year, right? Like, okay, people already get bored of Jacksonville, and Jacksonville could be the best team in the NFL, and people will still get fed up with them because they're here far too often. But like, people don't want to watch. I mean, yes, okay, if you support those teams, like I don't know, we're going to bash the Jets again, but if you're a Jets fan, if you're, I don't know, Arizona Cardinals fan this year, right, like those, or a Miami Dolphins fan, like where these teams are just not going to be good, you're expected to be like, bottom of the pile again. That teams, those fans that are on the fence about going to games are going to not want to go if they're going to not watch good quality. I think ultimately it comes down to, you want marquee players like to be there, right? So like you look at the London games this year, you're going to get to see Saquon Barkley, you're going to get to see Jaden Daniels, you're going to get to see Jonathan Taylor. So like that's what helps it, is that when there are players that maybe casual fans have heard of that want to go and watch, but when you get teams that don't have any marquee players, it makes it more difficult to appeal, especially when the ticket prices have skyrocketed in the last few years. So I'm glad this year there is a really good international slate. The Germany game is obviously, for us is fantastic. I think even as a neutral, right, you've got the Lions, who are capable of putting 40 points on any team in the NFL with that offense, and then the Patriots, Super Bowl runners up, with an exciting quarterback and a really good team behind him. That should be a really, really good game in Germany, and I'm looking forward to it. It's two teams that have got good fan bases in Germany and in Europe, so that should be good. I think it'll be a really entertaining game. Hopefully going to get that out there for it. I think logistically it might be a bit challenging. I think getting hold of tickets is probably going to be the biggest challenge. But overall, really happy with this international slate. I think it's really good for the league. I don't know what Australia done to deserve a game like Rams 49ers, to be honest. I feel like they've kind of been bribed with that one. It's been a long time since the UK has had a game as good as that. But I think overall really happy. And Germany, obviously we're talking about a bit of traveling earlier on the show. Germany is such a fantastic country. I've been a couple of times. Like Bavaria in particular, it is steeped in history. You go in to watch the game at the home of Bayern Munich, one of the biggest football clubs in the world. The Allianz Arena is a magnificent stadium. Like, I think overall, like, it will be miles better than the Frankfurt experience. So Frankfurt is not a fantastic city. It was absolutely flattened during the war. It's been rebuilt. Like, it hasn't really got a lot going for it, to be honest, Frankfurt, whereas Munich does. So I think this will be tremendous. And hopefully we can go out there and do a pod from it.
Indeed. Hopefully we'll be that. We are going to be out there. There's just a case of numbers, and it's going to be ticket wise. The tickets is going to be the biggest stumbling issue. People say it's the flights. I think people could get their flights, and you know what? Charters will put more and more flights on because they know the demand for it. But the more demand for it, the more the price will go up. So that's something we've got to be very, very careful of. No one wants to see the Cards in Europe. In Mexico, the Cards have a fan base. That is it. Yeah, no one really cares about. No one really cares about the red-headed stepchild of the NFL. Let's be real. Whenever they make the playoff, we're not happy. We're just surprised. Finns fans do travel well. The Barcelona game was said to have a lot of Finns fans there. There was a good Dolphin. There was a very good Miami turnout in
Madrid.
In Madrid, definitely.
That game was bad.
It was not a great game.
Yeah,
it was a terrible. It was
what
terrible.
I mean. You had two pretty poor teams, and that was a bad game.
And it wasn't even Tua Tagovailoa versus Jaden Daniels either. It was, who the fuck was the backup for the Dolphins?
Did Quinn Ewers play that game?
Skylar Thompson, maybe.
Oh,
Might have
Thompson.
been Skylar Thompson. Yeah.
That's bad.
Where is the game in Japan? Nope, they haven't got one yet.
To be honest, I'm sure the league would want to do one. I'm just not sure there is the appetite for that because the Japanese love their baseball more than American football. Baseball is enormous in Japan. So like I don't know whether that would be on the cards anytime soon. But it would be amazing. They've got the infrastructure to do it, and it's such an amazing country. But I don't know whether it would do that well because they're more into their baseball.
Yeah, that's definite. If Japan gets a game, then China will want a game, and then North Korea. No, not North Korea. Not North Korea. I don't think so. Cardinals' offense is scary good if you don't include their O-line.
And their quarterback.
And
that's the other thing, isn't it?
Who's their quarterback?
Jake Brisket. And then Sid the Sloth. So...
hang on.
I'm telling you, I think Sid the Sloth is going to play a lot of games.
You mean this guy?
Yeah.
Oh Lord, they're screwed. They're so screwed. Anyway, sorry, I meant Madrid. No, it's all right, mate. No worries. Oh, it was yours. Okay, fair enough. Wait till we game in Saudi Arabia. What about South Africa? Saudi Arabia, I'm probably, maybe not. Jacoby's good. Do you know what? We have dunked on Jacoby Brissett, but do you know what? He actually, he's serviceable. He's a serviceable quarterback. Minshew. They're far better than Kyler. Yeah.
I don't think he is. I think Kyler Murray's going to play for the Vikings this year and do all right.
Have you seen the? I think I've still got the photo. If I do, I'll send it to you on the chat.
Jacoby Brissett just looked better last year because they were down in so many games, and he just got the reins taken, like the shackles taken off, and they just said, "Fuck it, just throw it down the field." That was literally their entire game plan. And I think he got stat padded because he was just able to do whatever the hell he wanted and push the ball down the field. But I don't think he's the answer. I mean, I have been seeing Sid the Sloth, throwing sidearmers in practice. So, maybe he gets a few games this year for Arizona. But they've not got an option really long term, have they? They're not going to be good. Which. They've got great, good weapons in the passing game, and they've got Jeremiah Love, and they've got a decent left side of their offensive line, not so much the right side, but
and they've got good backs as well. They've got a very good running game.
Well, yeah, Love is going to help that, and Algier will be a good number 2 to Jeremiah Love. But then I don't know what's going to happen with James Conner.
The ultimate vulture in fantasy football.
If you're drafting Jeremiah Love in fantasy this year, just get prepared that Tyler Algier is going to vulture at least 5 touchdowns from him.
Exactly. Some Lions fans said, "Can the Bears play a game in Russia and after the game keep the team there?" So savage of those rival fans. I mean, Russia do like Bears. They do like Bears. Murray had 3 interceptions on 8 pass attempts in practice. Gulp. Gulp.
Still better than JJ McCarthy.
Yeah. It's a shame, but McCarthy's just no. He's just no. He's just not that it.
And that must pain you to say that as a Michigan fan as well.
It does, but the thing also is, I watching Michigan. It was our run game and our defense that won us the championship anyway. He made some good throws when he needed to. He was basically a poor man's Jimmy Garoppolo. Was basically what he was. He was a poor man's Jimmy Garoppolo.
He was a
facilitator. Thank you very much. You nailed it on the head. Yeah, he was that. So I'm not surprised by it, but I would just hope
just like every single Alabama quarterback that's been drafted in the last God knows how many years, they're all facilitators that are just perked up by their receiving talent around them. And Ty Simpson will be the next one.
Oh, that's why you call him Sid the Sloth. Oh dear. Okay, I think we're gonna call it. There, guys. Unless there's anything else to speak on. Anything?
I suppose like the only like other thing that's coming up is the schedule releases tomorrow, right? So we're going to find out the full slate. So I was just looking at the list of opponents that we got, and I was wondering if there's anybody that you guys would particularly like to see or not like to see in the opening game of the season. So our home opponents, obviously Bills, Jets, Dolphins, and then you've got Broncos. I think are playing the Chiefs in week 1, so it won't be them. We've got the Raiders, Packers, Vikings, Steelers, or on the road it would be the Bears, Chiefs, Chargers, Seahawks, or Jags. Is there anyone in particular that you guys would like to see, or anyone that you wouldn't like to see?
Week 1 for me. I think if the NFL don't do this, they're stupid. You do the Super Bowl rematch week 1.
No, you don't do this.
I don't want to say that.
Let me explain this. They can do this. You can do this in 2 ways. We lost to the Raiders in week 1 last year, okay? That was a funky result. It was so funky, the Raiders sucked and got the number 1 overall pick, right? So there's 2 ways you can think about it. Either A, we go in there and we actually get the surprise win, or 2, we end up losing that game, and probably that is probably our hardest game out of the way of the slate. Get week 1 out of the way. Week 1 is always an anomaly. If you're going to play,
I think it's for me. I don't like doing a Super Bowl rematch first match of the season. Like the defending champion typically opens the season at home, right? So to do a rematch of the last match we saw from the previous season, I just don't like that in general. I don't mind playing Seattle like week 3 or something like that, but I just don't like opening the season with a Super Bowl rematch. I think it takes away from the Super Bowl itself. So no, I would not like that. There's a few slight rumors that we might be playing the Chiefs on Thanksgiving, which would be a banger. I would like that.
Yeah,
that'll be a nighttime game. That won't be like mid because I think it's already been confirmed. It'll be Bears at Detroit for the first one, obviously. Cowboys will obviously play the afternoon slate, and then it's down to if it is Patriots Chiefs on that Thursday night. I need to book the Friday night off work.
Yeah, that would be a great Thanksgiving game as well. And you know what? I think we can have them. I don't think they're going to be as good as people think this year. I guess one game I would like to see early in the season. I would like to see us play Green Bay quite early because I don't think that they are that good. And I would like to see Romeo Doubs get off to a good start against his old team. I think that could go a long way to maybe him cementing his status with the Patriots fans. If he has a touchdown and a decent amount of yards against the Packers early in the season, I think that'd be a quite nice way to settle in.
We're at home, aren't we, for the Packers?
Yeah, maybe Packers at home within the first 4 weeks of the season would be quite nice. Of course, sorry to talk in balls, but we've got to get our first of our biannual teabagging over the Jets early in the season, right? So,
yeah, I mean, you'd like to be able to play the Jets every week of the season, wouldn't you? That would be the ideal scenario. Yeah. But I'll give you 2 teams for me that I would quite like to see. So, for week 1, one of them would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. In a way to avenge one of it. We obviously mentioned, Carl, the sort of freaky loss to the Raiders early in the season last year. Another freaky loss that we had early last year was the Steelers. I think it was 5 or even 6 turnovers in that game. So I'd quite like to see
that wasn't a freaky loss. That wasn't a freaky loss. We would just kept shooting ourselves in the dick repeatedly.
Sure, but I would quite like us to be able to rectify that and put that straight and really kind of hammer them home. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the other one would be the Denver Broncos. Given all the conversation that was had about the fact that the Patriots wouldn't have been in the Super Bowl if Bo Nix had been healthy, give us turn week 1 then, right? And we'll go and we'll put 30 points on them, and we'll shut that narrative up for good. I would quite like to see that as well. So sort of both rematches from last season for slightly different reasons, but yeah, the Broncos and Steelers would be 2 teams that I would be very happy to see as the week 1 opponent. The Bears game, DJ, just to be fair, I think that's going to be an awesome game next year. But I think that would be later on in the season. I don't know if I would love to see that in week 1. I think it would be a great game that could go either way. And so I think just for just save that game for later on in the season. I'd love to see that sort of week 10 to week 15, something like that.
That could potentially be a Christmas game.
Yeah, that'd be a great Christmas game.
Yeah, that could be a potential Christmas game.
Just on the comment there from Talking Balls is very hurtful. I mean, look, it's all a bit of fun, right? But one thing I will say is, at least you might keep the score down this year because your defense should be half decent. You know, you might keep it competitive until Geno Smith throws 3 interceptions and we outscore you. But you know, at the very least, the Jets will have a pretty good defense this year, and I think that's one thing that they can be positive about, because you look at that defense on paper and it does look pretty solid. So,
well, they didn't have an interception all of last year, did they? You know, not to sort of rub salt in the wounds here, but I think it was an entire season that they didn't have a single defensive interception. So hopefully that changes. I
can't see that going on for another year. If it does, then
Tottenham have had more wins this calendar year than the Jets have had interceptions of all of last season. So there you go.
I think it's going to be great to see some of the obviously the Jets had 3 first-round picks this year, didn't they? So I think it's going to be great to see those guys develop into real players that in 4 years' time then get traded for first-round picks in order to restart another rebuild.
We are going to the Super Bowl. Not this year, and not with Aaron Glenn as your head coach, unfortunately.
No, I'm sorry, Aaron. As I said to you, Aaron Glenn's a DEI hire. He's nothing. He's a nostalgic hire at best and a DEI hire at worst. He's your version of freaking Gerard Mayo. He's your version of Gerard Mayo. So there we go. But we'll leave it. We'll leave it at that. Listen, we'll get you on when the season's up and running. We'll find out when we face each other, and we'll get you booked in, guys. And be absolutely good fun. Guys, we are going to be getting on out of it now. Listen, thank you all for watching. Thank you all that's been listening on our podcast. Make sure you smash the like button on the way out. You Gronk spike the subscribe button. You tell all your friends. Follow us on social media platforms. Make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and on Apple as well. Obviously, with the schedule coming out on Thursday, could we potentially have do a show Friday of seeing the actual schedule come out?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we've got a scheduled show that we've got to do over the next couple of days for sure. I know as well, DJ, we won't reveal just yet, but DJ is in talks about getting a guest on at some point this week as well. So he may well be on a bit more this week, depending on how things align. But we should definitely do shows with the schedule. That's for sure.
Yeah, we probably will do. We'll probably do early predictions as well. And then, and then we will have some interviews coming up as well. And
keep it tuned to @PatsATP on social media, and you'll find out when we're on.
Mostly on X and on Instagram as well, and obviously if you're still using Facebook, that is. So yeah, you'll find us on those 3 platforms as well. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. We will be back on Friday for the schedule release, and we're going to see what we're going to come up with. But for now, thank you to everyone for watching. Good night. God bless. Go Patriots. And I hang on. I will say this to end it all. Okay. Since we're going to Germany, let me just. Where is it?
Oh, please don't say you're having to translate goodbye in German.
No, I'm not translating. I'm not. I mean, I could try. I mean, I could translate. I could translate into German, but no, probably not. Well, I can't translate goodbye in German because I don't know what goodbye is in German. So.
I did GCSE German and did very badly on it, and I know that it's Auf Wiedersehen or tschüss.
Or tschüss, yeah.
So I'll end it with this, okay? Last Hans Gerhan.
This is going to go great if we're in Germany. We have to carry on with the language. Yeah.
I generally think right. Just we will end the show right, a little bit. I think if you've gone to a country more than once, then I think you need to be respectful and learn a little bit of their language.
Yes.
So I'm going to Germany a second time. Therefore, I'm going on Duolingo right now and sorting out with German. So on that note, lass uns gehen, which basically means let's fucking go in German. Peace out, people. We'll see you on Friday night. Take care. Go Patriots.